Take two. As we too often live in the structure of this society that it's either faith or love, and as we hear that in the discussions today in our society that it's one or the other, God instead has a different way of looking at it. Because indeed, God's redeeming love is larger than your sin or my sin. In fact, it's larger than the sin of all creation. And God's reconciling love transforms your life and my life to bring us more into what he considers to be real life. And God's restoring love distinguishes your love and my love from the rest of the world's definition of what love is. And so instead of this mentality of faith versus love, God brings faith and love together. And what happens then is God brings his fullness into that midst of the joining of the two, where it's the Christ-believing attitude joins the people-loving lifestyle. And it's not only about telling the old story, the story of Jesus Christ, that historical piece that we come together, but it's also seen in our relationships today. Indeed, Christ laid down his life for you and for me and for all the world. But he does it so that he may lead us into the paths of righteousness, as we hear in Psalm 23. And so faith, that which Jesus brings us to through his death and resurrection, now as the Good Shepherd, he leads us to living it out. And we live it out as we engage in God's love, as we engage with the world that is in need. There's a certain earthiness in real human care, because that faith and love that come together is lived out in this world with all of its complexities. Ministry gets very messy. And we live it out in challenging circumstances, but also with some very challenging people. And that's then where the fullness of God begins to dwell. You will find the fullness of God in those abiding places where faith and love come together. And it's going to be in those abiding places where the sufficiency of God sustains us in those moments of complexity and challenge. But it's also going to be where the love of God is realized among his people. Now that's take two.